You're watching Dr. Amir Sankofa Kwele live. Make sure you stay tuned, hit that like button, and subscribe. It's going down.
Hey, greetings. I am Dr. Ask, and I'm here in my wonderful abode. Okay, so today is definitely one of those great, exciting adventures. So this video, more than likely, is going to go onto my website. I think it depends on how it comes off. So hopefully it will come off as best as possible, because I'm trying to develop a more professional or something that looks decent onto my website, because it's on my website. And of course, you know, my website don't play. So if you go to my website now at www.ask314life.com, you will certainly see more of my videos that you might not have seen otherwise. You might not have gone through my archives of videos. I have different channels that I had my videos on, and so here now I will begin to start having more of my videos posted on my website. So I'm just trying to find the most viewed ones that I will post on my website. So anywho, and once I get really cold at video editing, which I will get into here shortly, hopefully, because I'm already into, you guessed it, the website. So now I am posting, and I am doing websites for you all at a low cost, starting at $250 and up. So hopefully you all will be interested in possibly getting a website for your business. If you already have a business, no fears, because I can always convert you over to a different website. And I don't necessarily charge extra for that at this point in time. Now, probably later on, you better get it while it's good at this point in time. So hopefully you all will certainly get with it. So today, of course, is a really good day. It's hot as heck outside. So anyway, it is the summertime. Welcome to the summertime. Well, actually, technically, the 21st of June will be summertime. Although it feels like you're in hell right outside. So today my discussion is going to be about what? My discussion is going to be about breakups. So I got the energy of feeling like, and how you doing? Talk time, Real Talk TV. Yeah. Hi. Thank you so much for allowing me on your panel earlier. So today, on the terms of breakup, I think a lot of times we as people don't really like dealing with breakups, because breakups are a tremendous times. And a lot of times, which, you know, when does a person truly heal from breakups? I don't really think a lot of people take time to really heal from breakups. I think that it takes a long time for a person to really get over a person. And the reason why it does is because we don't initially get out of the relationship at a proper time. We wait till the very last minute to get out of the relationship. We probably should have been out of some of these relationships we've been in. The person is giving us orange flags, green flags, black flags, purple flags. I mean, every damn flag you could possibly see on the field. But because we're such good quarterbackers, we want to keep going through and going through and going through and going through. And we consider ourselves, we say, I don't want to be a quitter. But in actual reality, we need to quit that, right? So we stay in these relationships, and because we stay in these relationships, we begin to be having these uneasy energy feelings, and we begin to become lost, right? Please share my video, y'all. Please get more people to come in here because we're working too. So, anywho, and I'm not going to be on here too long, but I just want to address the breakups. And then a lot of times, not only do a lot of times we stay in a relationship for longer than what we need to stay in a relationship, and then at other times we do not um, heal from the relationship, because what we do is we move on into another relationship fast, as opposed to really dealing with why we broke up, why we chose that particular entity, what went wrong in the relationship. We don't address the issue, so we don't continue to further move them on, and we get into other relationships that are probably even worse than what we left, or maybe a step up, a smidgen of a step up. Because we have not, and then we get out of, because we call them bed, I used to call them bed warmers, because they're bed warmers, because the next person that we get into a relationship with is a bed warmer, because we did not actually heal. So we are doing the whole what do you call that? I can't think right now, but we're doing the whole bed warming situation. We're doing the whole rebound situation is what we do. We get into the rebound, and it becomes a rebound ship as opposed to a relationship. It's a rebound ship. And guess what? It serves you. It doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve that person. It does serve in that moment. What happens is we take that energy, those feelings from that particular entity, and then we carry it on into the next relationship. And that's why we have some of the same type of problems. And that's the reason why our relationships do not work out with that particular entity. And you are hurting yourself because you not take the time to heal. And you are not only hurting that, but you may be hurting a person who genuinely cares about you. And because you went through that, you are hurting that person and you're damaging them. And then when they try to move on and get into a relationship, had you not have given a short, have you not have given time to heal yourself? See, normally when you get into a relationship, normally it takes you 6 months to a year to heal. That's normally speaking, right? But some of us can take a little bit longer because we have triggers, right? Many of us have triggers. Yeah, and it does become a pattern. That's why I said they go from relationship to relationship and never heal. And that's the reason why they're never choose the right person for them. Because they can't see, because they're still in that same relationship. They're in that very first relationship, that very first heartbreak that they experience. And they continue that heartbreak over and over and over again. And it's the same person that they was in a relationship with originally, right? So we have to take time to, like I said, to heal. And it becomes a problem. It not only becomes a problem because if it takes you longer and you have triggers and it's something that's within you, then you need to perhaps, and I always recommend people to look at their childhood. That's the first thing I always tell people. Look at your childhood. As a life coach or as a healer, I tell people to look at their childhood. What was your childhood like? Did your father first break your heart? Did your mother first break your heart? Did your uncle? Did your grandfather? Did these entities? How you doing, DC, the Purple Diva? Hey, 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 hey. West Side? West Side? you know. So, throw them up. So a lot of times when we get into these relationships, so when we go further, we get into this relationship and then we have these triggers. And we're thinking like, well, dang, I thought I healed from Bobby Womack, and that's a good topic. That's a good scenario, because if we look at Sam Cooke's widow, she didn't even let the coffin dry. You dig? She didn't even let Sam Cooke's coffin drive beforehand. She was already involved and emerged in a relationship with Bobby Womack, and Bobby Womack wearing Sam Cooke suits and all kind of stuff. And see that that's not even a healed situation. And he ended up in bed with her daughter, and then his brother ended up marrying her. See, all those problems that created if she had have just taken time to heal and mourn over when you have, especially if you have a loss, because divorce and hold on one second. Because of loss and these different things, divorce is certainly a loss. Someone passing, if you were in a relationship with someone who died, and whether you was on good terms or bad terms, it equally hurts, right? And you lost that person. It's a death. Divorce is a death. So in a lot of cases, divorce feels just like that person died, and you have to mourn that loss. What do you do when someone dies? You mourn that loss. You go through the process of healing. You go through the process of that pain. You go through the process of all right. Yeah. So yeah, I had to talk to my 5-year old. Thank you so much for catching me, DC. So a lot of times, what happens is, you have to mourn. You're mourning that loss, and sometimes some of us, the first thing that we do is we get right back into it, and a lot, especially widowers, because you are vulnerable, because you are vulnerable and you're trying to heal that pain. So you think that you can really heal that pain with moving forward with someone else, and that never really heals the pain, because that pain is still there, that emptiness is still there, that loneliness is still there, and you're trying to replace something, and you're trying to have this particular person measure up to this entity that you was just with, whether it be someone who passed away or whether it be someone that's still alive here. And so that doesn't work out, and then you end up in another relationship and you don't heal again. You're like, okay, well, since he couldn't fulfill that need, just imagine a band-aid. So he could patch that up. He couldn't patch me up. So I'm just gonna go on to somebody else and have them to patch me up. They couldn't patch you up. Then you move on to somebody else. They couldn't patch you up. Then you move on to somebody else. They couldn't patch that up. And then by the time you got a whole scale of bones, like a graveyard, your love life is like a graveyard because you got so many skeletons. You got so many headstones and so many bones in your closet that yet you have not buried. You have not buried because you have not done any true healing. And I know a lot of times, in some cases, some of our mothers taught us when one Buick doesn't work, then you get a new Buick. Sometimes you have to fix that Buick. And I'm not talking about that particular person, but sometimes you have to heal and fix your heart before you can even think about moving on to a next person. And I have written a book about breakups. I have not put it out yet. I have not re-released it. I put it out for a minute. I put it out, but I was really sensitive about it, and a few people read it, and I also had a few publishers who wanted to publish it to make money off of it, and they found the book to be very enlightening. But I didn't want to publish it through them, so I self-published it. How you doing, Royalty Pro? So I self-published it, and I found myself feeling like I was really sensitive about my book. So I will eventually re-release it. And I actually did write it at a particular time with me and my ex, where me and my husband had one breakup, because we only had one breakup out of all the years we went together. So I wrote it during that time, and it was really about him, and it was really to make him look bad in the breakup book, but he didn't feel no kind of way. But it did make me look at myself. The book was written out of revenge, but what it did, that book forced me to look at myself, and it forced me to look at the mistakes that I made during that process of us initially getting together. And it also helped him to look at, and it really didn't affect him originally, but once he read it, it did make him look at himself in a different light, and he began to understand more about himself. And so I found that sometimes when you analyze yourself, and you analyze yourself from a different standpoint, and sometimes when you originally start off, because like I said, I started off originally trying to shame him, but it turned in me really looking at the mistakes along the way, and it began me to question a lot of the other relationships I had, and why because I was a runner. Okay, let me read what. Yeah, hit the like button. Hit the do what royalty say, my sharpshooter. Hit the like button, subscribe, let your people know what I'm doing here. Hopefully this will possibly, some of it will go on my website. I'm gonna learn how to edit, okay? So so it began to force me to really look at where I went wrong, because originally I was a runner. And when things got really tight into a relationship, or when I found out that certain things didn't work for me, I wasn't comfortable, I would automatically leave. And this particular relationship that I'm in now, I didn't want to run away. The other ones I did. But now I really understood why I ran away. And I should have ran away. I should have ran away a long time ago before I ran away, because it wasn't a good relationship for me. Not that the men wasn't bad, not that they were horrible, not that they did anything to me just so despicable because they did. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it was the season had been over a long time ago. The rain had came down, the pouring, screaming, adventures of Noric has all came down, and I should have been gone a long time ago, but I did not. But in my mind, or at least I was told that I was a runner, but in actual reality, I wasn't. I just wasn't happy in those relationships, because I was not only not happy, I was not happy within. Okay, I was not happy within. I didn't understand my identity. I was having an identity crisis, right? I was not understanding myself more. I understood the men, I sure did, but I did not understand myself. And I did not understand why I moved this way, why I moved that way, or why I was this way and why I was that way. And finally I understood. And once you understand that, you can stop making the same mistakes. I was making the same mistakes. I was creating more problems for me in the long run, because it wasn't benefiting me. And for all the relationships I had been in the past, it was no benefit for me. I wasn't getting the benefits of being in a relationship and being in the institution of marriage, right? It wasn't really a benefit. It was just kind of, you here, I'm here. You know what I mean? So that's not gonna work. You know, do you really? And then you start to really discover, did you really love this person? Because if you didn't respect yourself enough, and then you realize, I didn't love me as much as I thought I did. So what that means is I didn't really love them either. Oh, I didn't love you, boy. I thought I did, but I really didn't. And that's an unfortunate. And you just kind of do what's normal. You do what you feel like you're supposed to do in a relationship. You do the little nice things, and then after a while you just don't give a damn about nobody's fun. And I knew I didn't love in my past, because I didn't care about their feelings. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't care about your feelings. You already hurt mine, so I really, and maybe I will use this excuse: once you hurt me, I'm no good after that. Well, that's not entirely true, to a point. What's more true is that I didn't care about your feelings. I didn't care about your feelings because I felt like you was accessible. I feel like I can get somebody to replace you so fast that you turn your head. And that's one of the things I was person that can get rid of you if you didn't do what I need you to do, and I can get rid of you. Now, if you love somebody, how does that work? You don't love that person if you can get rid of them so fast. If you could just like, cause can you replace your child? No. Can you replace a pretty sweater? Yes. In some cases, I've had sweaters. I just was like, wow, I wish I could find a replacement for this sweater because it had a hole in it, or you know what I mean. Well, maybe I could stitch it up, and it was one of those really good sweaters, you know. And I couldn't really replace it, or a pair of jeans, you know what I mean. Could you always get another pair of jeans? Sure, but you can't get another child. You can't get another person to love you the way that you want to be loved, or for you to love them the way that you love. You know what I mean? So that wasn't really love, though. You know, and I know that some people would try to explain to you love is not supposed to be uh you know, love is supposed to be doubled or tripled, and love is supposed to be shared, and you're supposed to be able to share all of your love, and you're supposed to be able to be in love with this particular entity. And if you love them enough and let them go, then they come back. See, to me, it's something about the whole theory of coming back. See, because if you my ex, in most cases, I'm gonna say most cases, not all. But if you my ex, you my damn ex for a reason. And I don't believe in the whole theory of if you love something, then you let it go. I believe that if I let you go, I don't want you. I don't want you anymore at that moment. I'm done. You know, because in my past I would leave somebody alone, then we'll get back together. We try to work it out, didn't work. Then I let them go. I love you enough, I'll let you go. Then I let them go, they let me go. Then they'll come back with me together for a minute. Then it didn't work out. Then I'll let them go. They let them go. See, that don't work. Because I feel like the opposite. I feel like you love something enough, then you don't let it go unless it just don't work. Does that make sense? But hey, that's just me. I like to say that the person should rediscover who they are before dating again. Yeah, you gotta heal. You gotta heal, because sometimes when you get into these relationships, real talk, is that you lose yourself in these relationships. You lose your identity. So think about a person like myself in the past that had no real identity. So just imagine that. So what identity am I getting? So who am I? I'm trying to get back to who I thought I was, but I don't know who she is. You know, so when you don't know who she is, what do? You got to start over from scratch, because you can't continue on. And that's that's the clear cut of mistakes. That's the biggest mistake that people do, is they try to rekindle that good old feeling that they had originally, and they keep trying to replace that feeling that they think is love with another love, and that doesn't work, because you don't really truly love yourself. How many of us have had girlfriends? You don't have to reveal yourself. You don't have to put your business out there, right? But how many of us have been in relationships, or seen people, you don't have to say who it is, or seen people who has been married like 20 times. I'm not talking about one or two, it is what it is. Once you get into 3 relationships, once you get to 3 marriages, and you have not figured it out yet, something's wrong with your ass. Okay? Something's wrong with you. Now, 1 or 2 marriages, that is pretty, you can chop that up. You can say the first marriage was your high school sweetheart. You was in high school, okay, and you got married, or after high school, during college years, which is still close to high school. But once you done got married a 3rd time, child, you gotta look at yourself now. You gotta look at yourself. It's not him, it's not her, it's yours. Okay. So you have to look at yourself, because what are you trying to rekindle? Are you trying to rekindle the good old feeling that you have with that person? Or are you still trying to find that person? Or are you searching for your father? Or are you searching for your mother in these relationships? Are you trying to search for the very first person that was your hero, or the very first person that broke your heart, or they could be one and the same? Or are you looking for something that's not for you? You damn sure looking for something that's not for you, because sometimes, and that's another thing about expectations. I think sometimes some of us have unrealistic expectations. You think about people like, let's go there today. You think about Betty Shabazz, you know, you think about Coretta Scott. Did they get married after being married to Malcolm, Brother Malcolm, and Dr. Martin Luther King? No. Why? Think about that. That's not an answer today, but just think about that. Why didn't they not remarry? Why? Something to think about. And it's something with that. It's something with a fact that, why? Because who in the hell is going to come behind Malcolm X and marry you? Who? Who is going to come behind Dr. King? And Dr. King was entertaining a lot of folk, you know. And that's not saying he was a horrible husband. He was young, and he was wild and free, spreading what. No, I ain't gonna say it about Dr. King, but y'all know what I mean. Dr. King had multiple lovers. Let's be clear about that. I mean, it's documented. It's an actual fact. Okay. Coretta Scott even talked about it. But the point is, I'm saying is, what man, and not only that, what man will want to come behind another man? Because some of you all who have children fathers, or ex-husbands, or ex-lovers, a lot of times men don't want to come behind that other person. You know, thank you, real talk. A lot of times a man or a woman don't want to come behind an image or a ghost. They don't want to come behind a ghost, because what that does is it's unrealistic for a man to be just like how Malcolm was. Okay, well, I'm gonna be this leader. I'm gonna come behind Malcolm, and I'm gonna be this leader, and I'm gonna lead this family. And Malcolm had all girls, right? So how do you do that? You know, and it's the same way is whether you're somebody like that or not. Think about the people that you have been with, and to have somebody to come behind any of them. That's difficult within itself. And think about how you have had to come behind somebody else, and for you to basically straighten all the errors out that this other person did, because that's what you're doing. You're straightening out all the errors that this other person did. You recorrecting or regurgitating. Either you regurgitating history, or you trying to correct it in some kind of way. My little ball fell off my little pretty jewelry. Ain't that something? Wait a minute, let me bend down. So you coming behind that person to correct they shit, to show, and you coming behind that person to prove to them like, I'm better than they was. I can do it better than they was. And of course they're gonna do comparison. It's gonna be a comparison. Well, my ex-wife used to remember on Color Purple. He told her, my ex-wife used to cook better than you. You know what I mean? You know how difficult that is coming behind somebody. Think about it, coming behind somebody that is the shit. That's a good fit for you. I have to make my sales. This is my topic for sure. Great points. Finishing on relay for sure. Replay for sure. Thank you so much, Real Talk. So that kind of stuff happens. So think about that. Think about the reality of that, and think about how difficult that is to come behind somebody. And God forbid if they passed on. That is hard. A lot of people think that's easy, but that is not. Jackie O, yep, and the Greek millionaire. Nah, he didn't have a chance in hell, and he had way more money than the Kennedys. Well, on record, let's say on record, right? You know, and you have to live up to an image. You have to live up to the image. You have to outdo the person they was with. And you have historical figures, right? That was historical figures. Now think about somebody who's not necessarily a historical figure, but they were a good wife. They cooked, they cleaned, they worked a job, they took her all the children, they rocked it. They was good in every way possible. They was adventurous, loving. They did everything that was right for this person because they understood that person because they knew him for years and they worked and whatever. And you're coming behind that right off. Mm. How do you do that? It's virtually impossible to do that because that person is still going to be mourning their wife or husband. And that's what we're doing. And that's why sometimes we have to understand. And then sometimes in a lot of relationships, we actually have to think about, did I, like I brought up a second ago, because I want to touch back to that point. Did I really love that person? Did I really love that person? And a lot of times, sometimes you didn't. Sometimes you really never loved that person because you did not understand what love was at the age. I didn't understand really what love was at the age of 17. I didn't understand what love was at the age of 18. I didn't understand love in my 20s. Okay. I knew I loved my children. I knew that. In my 30s, I don't think I understood love until my late part of my 30s. I don't think I understood love until the late part of my 30s. I think I started to get the concept. And once the late part of my 30s, I realized I don't think I ever loved you. I'm sorry. I don't think I ever loved you. I think that I just got out of a relationship. Or I ended a relationship. It was kind of like the LL Cool J thing. We said, I, such and such got a big old butt. I know I told you I'll be true, but such and such got a big old butt. So I'm leaving you. You know what I mean? Kind of was like that. Well, actually, old boy liked to have more fun. You was kind of boring. So old boy had more fun. Then you got with old boy, he started having too much fun. Then you like, this ain't where it's at. I don't want to have all this fun. I want to pay bills. I want to have a family. I want to live like. I want to do these things. And then you start partying, and then you looking like, and then you realize, and then you done took all of your years away, all of your time away, all of your energy away. Thank God you still got your beauty now. We ain't gonna discount that. But you took some of precious moments in your time where you could have really been partying by yourself and seeing what's out there, not necessarily relationship wise, but just seeing what's out there in general. And you wasted half your life with this other individual that you didn't stay with for 40 years or however long. And you didn't really know what your voice sounded like because your voice the whole time been like, oh. And you like, and that person was like, you just heard their voice loud and barking and how they're feeling, what they think, you hear all of their voice, but your voice is like, hello. And then you be like, hello, 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 is your voice in there? And then all of a sudden your voice began to get louder and louder. And you're like, is that me? That's you. That's your voice. That's your voice. And then it gets louder and louder and louder. And now you're like, man, I have a voice now. And guess what? Once your voice becomes louder and louder, the other person's voice begins to get lower. And you barely can hear it, and to the point where you're going, yay. And that voice gets lower and lower and lower. And so once that voice gets lower and lower, and you begin to start drowning out with your own voice, because at that point you don't even care what their voice sound like no more. It becomes annoying after a while. So that voice becomes more annoying after a while. So what do you do from there? You leave. Because now you found your voice. Remember that Beyonce song? She had the voice. She was in that Dreamgirls show. And she never had a voice. Because he did everything for her. He gave her this role. He put her in the movies. Like Barry Gordy did Donna Ross. He put her in the movies. He put her in this. He gave her this song to see. She couldn't even write her own music. She couldn't even really express how she felt. He told her basically what to think, feel, know, what not to say, what to say. And after a while, that becomes draining. If someone's always telling you what to say, what to think, how to feel, after a while, that becomes draining. After years and years and years of that mess, you're like, wait a minute. Those are your thoughts. Those are not mine. That's why when you get into these relationships, it's very important that you always have a voice. It's important that there you allow that person, because some of you women don't like let these men have voices either. Y'all be like, shut up. So you have to let the man have a voice too. So we all have to have voices in this relationship. It's not just about you or him. So um so at some point in time, I would certainly understand why you breaking up and understand the need for the breakup. Sometimes breakups can be very healthy. Most of the time breakups can be very painful when you first initially happens. But for the most time, you be like, who? Why did we break up? Listen to the sound in my voice. A memory has died. Okay, anyway, that's a great song. Yeah. Okay, anyway. So, yes, listen. Listen. Okay, anyway. So yes, it is very clear to remember that some of these breakups need to be healthy. And the more healthier they are, sometimes you have to go through pain to get to the good part of the breakup. And I always tell people, to get it all out, you know cry, scream, yell. Have you just sat in your room and just yelled, cry, scream out loud? Birth, it's like birthing a baby. You birth that baby, birth that pain out, get rid of it, let it go. Express how you feel. You might, and then if you have, oh my God, the worst thing is when you have a quiet job where you're not really, where you have to think. If you have a think, you got more time to think, you sit up there and think about that relationship. You think about all the good times. You don't remember why you broke up, you forgot. You think about all the good times. You think about when the person did this and how they made you laugh. And you think about those memories. Whoa, 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 sweet memories. You think about all that stuff. You're at work, it's quiet. Quietness and silence are deadly for breakups, but you need it. You do need silence. You do need quiet. You do need to think about it. You need to and you need to analyze why you got with this person. You need to analyze why y'all broke up. You need to analyze what you did and what they did, and don't just finger point. You did this. You did this. You did this. No, what you do. You contributed to it. Even if they cheated on you, even if they were disloyal, it's not always about cheating. Everybody don't break up because someone cheated on them. Everybody don't break up because people are disloyal. Sometimes shit, just the connection was never there. Sometimes the connection was lost because of people outgrow each other. There's such things. People do outgrow each other. Sometimes people want different things. Sometimes you may want a child, but they don't. And you're like, well, I got so much love to give. And they're like, well, I ain't with it. You know what I mean? Did you know that they didn't want a child when you first got with them? Did they tell you that, or did they lie to you? Did you lie to them? Did you hold that? Did you put your voice back in the back? Is that what happened? Finances. Maybe that person not cutting in their edge. Maybe you have a traditional way of thinking that the man should take care of the woman. Or maybe you think that y'all should do 50-50 and the person is not really about the 50-50 and you doing 110, boom. It's you Audi 5,000, type of deal. So it's so many different, or maybe they have a mother that is their girlfriend. Maybe your father is your boyfriend, because it's women like that too. Maybe your father, maybe they trying to measure up to your father, and nothing you do is good, and nothing they do is good enough because your father's over there cutting your grass because you don't think your husband can do it. Stuff like that. Or maybe your mother's over there, or maybe his mother's over there in your kitchen cooking your dishes because you don't know how to cook, eat good enough for your husband, and he wants his mommy to cook for him. Maybe he doesn't feel like you can cook. Maybe he doesn't feel like you do anything because his mother did everything for him. It's different reasons. So you have to know that from the get go. Did you know that he was a mama's boy? Did it get worse during their marriage, or was it always like that and you just refused to see it? Right? Or maybe you didn't have an identity, and you met him one way and he saw you and didn't know who you was anymore. And or sometimes maybe your evolution or his evolution was too much, because people do grow. And sometimes when you're in these relationships, you either grow with the person, and or sometimes you may not grow with the person. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's unfair to ask a person to evolve with you if they're not ready, and you're forcing them to evolve with you. Yes, finances are certainly a major part of the reason why a lot of people divorce. Mhm. So it's a lot of things, right? But it's important for us to save time, money, energy before we even get into these relationships, and not just going in with Google Gaga eyes and going, "Ooh, he's handsome. Ooh, he has a nice car." You know, and I mean, even to this day, even some of my friends be like, "Girl, he got a nice car." Well, so just because he has a nice car doesn't mean that that's good marriage material. And even at 40 something, some of my girlfriends are like, I'm like, girl, you are in your 40s, you ain't 20 no more. You ain't 18, 16. That's some 16-year-olds worried about, right? Cars, you know. I'm worried about what is his long-term goals. Maybe you need to find out what his long-term goals are, and just keep in mind that they may be subject to change. You might meet a guy one way, he might be a blue collar worker, and he might work at McDonald's, but he has aspirations. That's another thing. Let's talk about that. Some of y'all are too damn. Y'all be like, I'm a sugar baby. Well, what are you bringing to the table for him to be a sugar baby? Because he can get anybody that sacks him real good. That don't mean nothing. That's not marriage. That's not me wanting to marry you. That's just me wanting to sleep with you, and you give me some of your goodies and keep it moving. And I'm gonna call a woman in her that's gonna be able to hold me down. Can you cook? Can you sew? Can you provide a decent lifestyle? Same with a man. Same with you. Some of you sisters. You got a man. He might can lay down the. He might be a good pipe installer, right? But he may not. But he may not know how to do 2 plus 2. He might be dumb, meaning you can't even carry on a good conversation with him. He's not a good conversationalist. So what is the point? I can't even bring you around my family because they gonna talk about you because you're not smart, you dumb, and you embarrassing. You know. So it's things like that. Sometimes we worry about the wrong things, and that's why we end up in the breakup situation. Okay. Sometimes going in with this man, he does not like the work. He already lazy, girl. He already day 3, he on your couch. You like, boy, what you doing here, Bobby? Oh, baby, I'm just, my cousin put me out. My mama put me out. My mama put me out. It's supposed to walk around your couch for just a little while to get me on my feet. And then by the time you look up 3 years later, he's still on your flipping couch. No. And then you're like, well, I'm just going to marry him. Half a man is better than no man at all. you marry him. And he's still on the couch, girl. 10 years later, y'all been married for 20 years, next 20 years, and he's still on the damn couch. Okay, so is it him the bum or you stupid? I'm just saying, or maybe you want a man that smell like couch. You might want a man smell like couch. That's cool. But don't complain about it. Don't go to your girlfriends complaining about it. Don't go to your family. That's another thing. Sometimes when families don't like you, when their mother don't like you, and they close with their mother, or they have a decent relationship, they like and they don't like you, but the father don't like you, more than likely it's not gonna work. So just please keep that in mind. If they don't like you, just keep that in mind. There is a chance that it probably won't work. Okay. relationships like that, or if it's maybe a situation, if the mother, if you're willing to work through it with the mother, or the mother's willing to work through with you, and she's like, well, the reason why I don't like you because he's with Rebecca, and Rebecca was better, or well, he hurt, broke her heart, or whatever the case is. But I mean, whatever reason it is, and she don't still don't like you after 10 years or 5 years, probably won't work. Because you all not gonna be able to. He's not gonna be able to really hang around his mother without having guilt. You know what I'm saying? Without having guilt, or without, your mother hooking him up with somebody, because mothers do that, child. Mothers will set your husband up, they sons up, or somebody else, and will keep it a secret. And all of a sudden, they got a secret family over here. I'm just telling you. Fact, sis. Man, man didn't go in the bed and nowhere else. Yeah, so what's the point? Why I want to marry somebody like that, dude? That's all he got. We can't have good, fulfilling conversations. I can't take him nowhere. People looking at me like, your husband, dumb girl. I'm just saying, you might want a dumb husband. Who knows? Somebody might want a dumb husband, but I can't deal with no dumb man. I've been there, done that. I've had dumb men before. Can't do that. Ooh. Ooh, Lord, I'd be like, shh. Don't talk. But anywho, when you're going through these breakups, just remember to go through the process. It's a process. Make sure that you address the issue within yourself. Make sure you take time to heal. Make sure that you remember and start and really relearn who you are. Remember, and then you might discover that who you are is not who you thought you was. And a lot of times you can learn a lot from breakups, though. You really can. I promise you. You will learn so much more about yourself. You will understand what you won't put up with, what you will put up with. You will understand more. You will understand what you don't like, what you do like. You will understand what type of who you are again. You will understand what you want more. You should learn more and when you're in a relationship, you should learn a lot about yourself. If you're with a partner, you don't learn anything about yourself, you don't learn anything about that person, it's bad. You have to start learn. You have to learn stuff about yourself. You have to learn stuff about these relationships. You have to start paying attention to yourself. You have to start paying attention to that person. You have to go through things. Sometimes you don't know what you're made of until you all go through something. Until y'all have a death in family. Until y'all have a loss, or till y'all have a gain, till y'all have children. Because sometimes you can have a child. You might be in love with this person. Y'all might have it going on, and you have a kid, and it's a wrap. It's divorce time. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes y'all didn't really have it anyway. If a child just, busted up, a child should be an additive. A child is not meant to keep that person in your life. That's why a lot of people be breaking up right after they have children. Because it was already on shaky grounds and nobody wants to be honest. The person already didn't want to be with you, or you didn't want to be with that person anyway. And the child just brought more problems to the situation. Not the child's a burden, because the child's a beautiful thing. But sometimes children can can uplift all the covers off of the bed. And by the time you look up, you got a bare bed, and your bed wasn't nothing to begin with. Your bed was never made. How about that? So, bringing children, and that's the worst thing that some of you women do. And men do it too. Men will trap you too. A lot of you women will try to get a person with a baby and think that person's going to stay. Let me tell you, that person is not going to stay with you because you have a child. They are not. They probably worse to you for having that child, for putting that child on them because they feel like they have to be there out of obligation. Okay? You don't want that. So with that said, what else? And I'm gonna cover that. I mean, so much more I can really talk about, but I really would like to. I'm gonna do another video on breakups, but right now I'm just gonna touch on these things that I'm mentioning. But also, you gotta go through it. You have to go through it. You have to understand why, and you have to stop choosing the same type of bullshit. You have to You get mad. Well, Roger dumped me. Why you think Roger dumped you? Roger dumped you the same reason why Bobby dumped you. Why? Because you too clingy. Because you won't give people space. Because you don't set, or you don't listen to other people's boundaries, or you don't set boundaries for yourself, because you choose obsessive people, because you choose crazy people, because you choose people who don't really have the best intentions for you, because you don't have the best intentions for yourself, right? Because there is a such thing as a law of attraction, and sometimes they say opposite attract, and um, that's not always true. Opposites don't really attract all the time. If y'all so different, how can y'all make anything work? Do y'all have anything in common? You gotta have something in common. Me and my husband was talking today, and I like roller coasters. Okay, I like to get on roller coasters. And he's like, I don't like roller coasters. I get on one roller coaster, I seen somebody hand snap off. And I'm like, what? What? You know what I mean? So is that, and then you gotta figure out, is that something to make or break me? No, my husband not wanting to get on roller coasters does not hurt my feelings. He's fun in other ways. But I like roller coasters. He's like, well, I can go to the park with you. It's about compromise. Well, I go to the park with you, but I'm not getting on one. I mean, you make me not want to get on one. I'm like, well, I don't know if I should get one. He be like, I'll be waiting out here. Me and our son will be sitting right here waiting on you to get on. You know, is that gonna make or break me? No. But some things will. But think about the things that will. Children mothers, children fathers. Those could certainly, before you got there, could certainly make or break a situation. If you got there, somebody crazy baby mama, somebody's child's mother, or someone's ex. If the ex is always laying around waiting on you to mess up so they can just slide in, and that person lets them to linger on, that's certainly not a comfortable feeling. So and think about it and stop, and what we have to do, because I broke hearts in my lifetime. I ain't going front. I have. And other people have broken my heart, right? So try to limit breaking people's hearts. Try to. Sometimes it's impossible, right? But in most cases it is, because we already know going in. Have you ever been with somebody, and going with this person, you're not really attracted to this person. You already know it's not gonna work, but you ain't got nothing else to do with your life. So you say, why not? I'll get with Bobby. And then Bobby dumps you later. Right? It's like, dang, I didn't even want to be with you anyway. Well, you could have prevented all that. And now you're heartbroken over little ugly Bobby. But you didn't want little ugly Bobby anyway. You thought Bobby was stupid. Bobby wasn't smart. Bobby could dress nice and had a nice car. And Bobby used you because he had money and you was eye candy for him or whatever. So just be careful of that. Be careful of what you attract. And maybe you being superficial. Like I said, you're just being superficial, or maybe he's being superficial. So just remember where you want to go with yourself. And I think a lot of breakups will be limited if you kind of, how you doing, Willie? A lot of breakups will be limited if you really find out what you really want. And sometimes the person mentioned earlier, the sister real talk mentioned earlier, sometimes things aren't for you. Have you ever thought about that? Sometimes things aren't for you. And sometimes when things aren't for you, let it go. It's not for you. And it's not that the person's better than you. It's not that they're a quality man or you're not a quality woman. That bullshit. Oh boy, we have that kind of discussion. But sometimes we limit ourselves, and sometimes we go overboard with what we want. We have this whole big old list. We want him to have this, we want to have a car, we want him to, I never want to be a car. But maybe he's on the verge of getting a car, or maybe he can't drive, and if you show him how to drive, he'd be okay, but he can afford a car, he just don't drive, right? So it's certain things. Maybe, you got this long list. And sometimes that long list isn't realistic. And sometimes you don't have any list or any expectation, even a little, you don't even have a inclination of what you want, and you get what you don't want, then you're like, damn, I ain't what I want, but you didn't ask for it, you know. So I remember they always talk about a lot of you sisters talk about Sierra, the singer, the actor, and talk about how she had this list and how she wound up with Russell, whatever the last name is. Um, Now, sometimes that ain't realistic. I'm gonna keep it real to you. Sometimes you asking for something, you might not get it, and when you don't get it the way you want to, you don't want it. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you, the clear list. I would tell people, if you want to have a list, I would tell people, to men and women, I would tell them to heal before you think about trying to do a manifestation. Heal first. Heal. Heal. And then just date and see. And when I mean date, I don't mean drop your pants all the time, okay? I mean deal. Deal with who you are. Congratulations. Deal with who you are. Deal with who you are. Deal with what you want. Deal with, think about it. Everything doesn't have to be a cookie cutter. You know, sometimes, you know, one of the things I didn't want in my, because I've had it in my past, I didn't want men with children. I was like, because my children were older. So I knew pretty soon my children were going to be out of high school and I was going to move on with my life and it would be cool. Right. But I didn't want a man with children, you know. And that was a deal breaker for me. Right. But you know, had I kept that concept, I wouldn't have found my husband, you know. So I really began to start looking at that. What's the pitfall in that? What do I get out of being with someone who has children? You know what I mean? You know, I did have children. I had to think about, I had children at one, when my children were small at one point, you know. So certain things that sometimes we have to make compromises and sometimes we don't. It's on you. Sometimes we make the compromise for the right person. So let me be clear about that. Some compromise ain't worth it. If the person is not the right person or you don't feel, you're like, don't do it. That is not worth you compromising. But some things are compromised. And the thing is, you can't be mad. I'm not mad at a person if they say, hey, I don't want a woman. Now I have a kid, you know. So if something happens, God forbid, I don't want to put that in there. But now I have a 5-year-old, you know. So I don't want a situation where if a man feels like, well, I don't want to be with a woman who don't want children. Okay, well, I'm not the woman for you. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with it. That doesn't hurt me. That doesn't mean I'm not quality. That just means he has a preference, and so do I. And my preference is, obviously, I don't want to be with a man who don't want women with children. Obviously, I mean, it's no harm done today. It's no harm done. If you don't want a woman with children, if you don't want a man, but keep in mind, sometimes things are worth compromising. Sometimes they're not. But you have to figure that out. But how do you know? Sometimes we have to take our chances. Sometimes we have to make some decisions, and don't feel bad about the decision you make. But then don't look up when you find out the guy that, you know, became a millionaire. You like, damn it, I had a cup, but that just wasn't the man for you. And he looking at you like, yeah, look at me now. See, I'm on a go, yo. You know what I mean? And you all looking all pockets empty, and he a millionaire, looking pockets so swole, and he is handling business, and his wife is beautiful, and they walking around and they happy, but they just wasn't the person for you, you know. I'm just saying. So keep in mind, sometimes we have to meet a person where they're at, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have to leave where they at, be like, oh boy, bye, have a nice day. Have a nice life, boy. So again, breakups can easily be prevented if we figure out what we want. and don't try to figure out what we want during the relationship. Now, things can come up where we didn't realize we didn't like that till it happened, but at least have like, at least know something, like at least have a level. I don't want to say expectation, but have a level of what you want. A level, okay, just a level. But to prevent relation breakups. However, some breakups may need to be good for you because you're learning that lesson, and that breakup led you to finding your own voice. That breakup led you to healing. That breakup led you to really focus on who and what and you are and what you want in your life in general, not just about being in a relationship with somebody. And I think a lot of times we think about all the time what a person can do for us and not what we can do for a person, and that's why another relationship, and that's just selfish, right? So, I mean, I could talk on this subject all day. It's so much more. It's not just the cookie cutter drop down that I'm saying to you, because it's so many other elements that happens during the breakup process. But I'm just giving you the basic points. I'm giving the basic points of healing. I'm giving the basic points of taking time out for yourself, getting counseling, getting life coaching, going through the breakup, allowing yourself to feel that pain. Don't run away from the pain, because running away from the pain is not going to help you to heal. That's one of the things my last breakup, or my breakup before that, I definitely took time to heal. I definitely allowed myself to mourn that death of that breakup, because it was exactly a death. Because breakups are just like someone's dying; they're dead to you. Okay, and I understood. I understood this. I understood that. I understood my triggers. I understood all of that. And by the time I got into another relationship, when I got with my husband, I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is what I want. But sometimes, just get it through your thick head. Breakups or not, breakups or not going to be a saga. They're going to be painful and ugly. So deal with it. Now, I was also watching. I'm getting ready. Last point. I'm getting ready to get off of here. Because I already cooked dinner. My son is looking at me like, okay, I'm gonna be hungry in a second, so I need to feed. So one of the things during the breakup, one of the things I've been watching here on YouTube. If you watch the ex mommy Anna gang, live life. She's actually going through a divorce, and it is so ugly. And she's doing exactly what I said about not looking at herself, not evolving, not getting counseling, going from man to man to man to man to man to man to man. I mean, many, many men during this breakup time, right? And not only that, but she's also, when you have children involved in these breakups, don't use the children for collateral. Don't use the children against the other person. I know sometimes it's hard to tell people that, because when you're in the moment, when you're in the heat of a war, that's what you do when you're at war. But unfortunately, guess who pays for the child? You're not benefiting anybody. So my recommendation is, don't use the child against the other person, because nothing good is going to come of that. Someone's going to end up really hurt. Um, So she's using child. Looks like the father's kind of doing some of the same things, but she's doing it way worse. So he's trying to not go there with her, but she is pushing his buttons. And I can't, and it's not even a situation. Normally, me as a woman, you would think I would be on their side, but I'm not on her side. I'm not at all. I'm not really on his side, but I mean, wrong is wrong. And that's really ugly what she's doing. And so you don't want to do that. You don't want to go through these breakups by putting the children in the middle, and you need to make this as best, because you're already hurt emotionally. So you don't want to make any more problems outside of that. Because there's other ways. If you really want to hurt somebody, guess how you can hurt somebody? Moving on. Moving on with your life and finding happiness. And to find the happiness within you. Not looking for happiness outside of you. That will come later. I promise you. Once you have healed and you've done the necessary work, the happiness will come. People will begin to start being more attracted to you, and you don't have to keep worrying about and patching up and asking everybody to patch up your life, the hole that's in your heart. It's up to you to fulfill that hole that's missing in your heart. Okay, that spread due to breakup. Anywho, I'm gonna log off of here. I've been on here way too damn long. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you all for coming in. And please help to support my channel. If you could hit my Cash App, doc uh no money key, Dr. Dr. Amira AMIRAHSKWELI. And of course, if you look on my thing, you can see it. Or like this video, please subscribe, get more people interested in what I'm saying. This is probably some of it's going to go on my website. Thank you so much for all of you all intelligent comments and responding to what I was asking and talking about. I really appreciate it. I've been dragging on here too long. Thank you so much. Let me hit this cue. Okay, hold on. All right. Thank you so much. Love you all. Here we go.
You're watching Dr. Amira Sankofa Kwele live. Make sure you stay tuned, hit that like button, and subscribe. It's going down.
Death is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The cemeteries are full of people who've passed from a preventative illness. With the correct approach, you not only extend your chances of preserving your life, but you will improve the quality of your life with a natural approach. The earth provides energy healing herbs for the benefit of mankind.
Hello, I'm Amira Sankofa Kweli here at As Life Coaching Ministries. We're located at 1921 West Broadway. We've been in the healing business for over 20 years. To order my products, go to www.as314life.com. I'm available 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Namaste.